Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Carol Zampa, and I'm your moderator for our HealthPointe Lean team. This is our second cohort, or some people call it a session, and it's starting our first week of the 6-week cycle of our HealthPointe program. And we're very, very excited to have many of you that are on your HealthPointe journey back, and we're very excited about having a lot of new folks on for the first time, too. So hopefully you've been working with your coach and you've been prepping your kitchen, your mind, your body, and everything else. And today you had your first protein day. So work with your coach very, very closely, especially if you're brand new, and make sure that you're accountable every day. Also make sure that if you have not got your Conquer Your Negative Thoughts book, that you secure that, because it's about, if you can read about 15 minutes every day, I think you'll find that it will really help negative thoughts that creep in, those ants, as we call them, and it'll keep your mind detoxed along with your body. And that's going to be very important because your mind will play a key role in your healthy journey. So we're going to clip along because we've got a lot of exciting things tonight. And what I want to do is, first of all, I want to introduce, many of you are familiar with Eric Rashi. Some of you that are brand new maybe are not, but Eric Rashi in his own right is a very successful business owner of a traditional business, but he's also extremely steeped into the HealthPointe program and also in wellness in general. And he's been doing a lot of studying, some certifications of different things. And so he's got a real clear picture of what's out in the marketplace. So Eric, if we can bring you on, I'd love to chat with you for a few minutes about what your findings are.
Sure, I'm on.
There you are. Yeah, you're
glad
on.
to be on here.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. This is fun.
Yay! Yes, it is fun, and it's so enriching. I'm just so excited about where we're going with this program, and I have you to be thankful to you for a lot of kind of nudging me to get this thing going and what have you. So let me ask you, Eric, I know you've been out there, you've been getting certifications in various natural health programs, not necessarily weight loss programs, but health programs and what have you. And can you tell me, what are some of your findings as you're getting out there with some of these health gurus?
Yeah, it is interesting. It seems like there's something new every week where I'm listening to a lesson plan or maybe a podcast or something, and it might be down a specific area of health and wellness, and they'll mention something. I'll say, there it is again. There's another element of HealthPointe. Here's this notable doctor or health and wellness guru or faculty member that's hitting on this point. And as I like to say, all roads lead to HealthPointe, because it just seems like time and time again, it is absolutely already there and has been there for decades in the HealthPointe program. And I'll just comment on one because it's the latest, and it literally just happened this week. So this is in one of my certification courses, and they get into a lot of research. And this was talking about something that's called TTM, which is trans-theoretical model of change. So we all, when we're going into a behavior change, doesn't matter what it is, there are stages. Some models show 5 stages of change, some show 6. But at that upper level of the change levels of the trans-theoretical model of change, it's actually called termination. Kind of a harsh sounding name, but that is actually when somebody is basically, they got it. It could be whether they were quitting smoking, or maybe it was an addiction, or maybe it is a lifestyle, behavior change, health and wellness. But at termination, that's where they basically have it. They're good, and they move on. But the cautionary note was that they said that one of the things that can really cement somebody in, and they said is very common in health and wellness, is for that person to turn around and become a coach. And I thought, there it is again. All roads lead to HealthPointe, because what they were saying, of course, is that, and I think you and I have talked about, Carol, what's called the protege effect. That's what we refer to. So when you have to teach something that you've done, that has a tendency to strengthen your own resolve and your self-identity of who you are in this world. And so there it was again in the TTM, trans-theoretical model of change. All roads lead to HealthPointe, apparently.
I love that. And I love some of the high-end technical terms that you use. And I've learned a lot of stuff from you just in you being out in the marketplace. And it's so interesting because HealthPointe is just so real and basic. And I mean, like everybody from a kindergartner can understand it, you know. And what's great is that we can go from the high-end technical terms all the way down to the, hey, you know, I feel funky and blah blah blah, and HealthPointe just addresses it all and having that coach. Do you find that a lot of the programs have coaching available?
Yes, I think the ones that are successful long term, definitely, and they make that very clear. In fact, just to kind of touch on that again, and again, this was maybe just a week or two ago, they were mentioning that just the process of reaching out and getting a coach, and again, this can be in a lot of areas, but certainly in health and wellness, just the process of getting a coach has a psychological effect. And so, yes, they, they're almost suggesting, independent of how skilled that coach is. Now, in our case, we feel that the coaches are very skilled because they've so many cases done the HealthPointe program themselves, so they know it not through academic or literature. They know it by applying it and doing it. So they're very versed in the program. But that said, the suggestion was that even kind of independent of the strength of that coach, just the fact that somebody has reached out and gotten a coach changes their behavior, makes them more accountable, makes them more committed, makes them more engaged. And so that's there as well.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're in week one. We'll change gears a little bit here. And so the first 3 days is your jumpstart days, and they're really protein days, but we try to differentiate that very beginning of the program, calling them jumpstart days. Why do we do that? And can you kind of give a little explanation so people understand why we eat those 3 protein days?
Yes, I sure can. It's kind of a fun one to talk about because some people maybe have heard this metaphor, this analogy before, where what we're doing, there's a couple of benefits to the 3 protein days, AKA jumpstart days. One is, even if you don't know the mechanisms of action, you get results, and there's nothing more fun than getting great results in terms of, if it's your goal to lose weight, you will lose weight. It won't even be the full week. You'll be, losing weight, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, and certainly Thursday. And that will be very exciting and kind of a fun way to start. But what is happening is that we all, particularly for eating a typical American diet, we have way too much processed food, way too much sugar and carbohydrate. And as a result, we have it stored quite a bit. And the short-term storage of that is in the form of what's called glycogen. The glucose is stored in the form of glycogen, largely in our liver. And what happens when we do the jumpstart days, where we're consuming only protein for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and no carbohydrates, no sugar, is the body is not getting dietary carbohydrates, so it has to go searching for this source of glucose, and it will go to the liver, which is a kind of a short-term storage. And the metaphor that I use is, because most of us have in our homes, we have a small freezer that's maybe attached to a refrigerator, maybe it's on the top of the refrigerator, and then we might have a larger freezer, maybe it's a chest freezer down in the basement or out in the garage or something like that. The small freezer is easier to get to, but it doesn't contain as much, so you go through it a little bit quicker. The larger freezer, say it's down in the basement somewhere, it holds a lot more, but it's kind of tougher to get to, and you kind of don't go to it unless you have to. And that's how our body works in those 3 days. When you're not consuming the carbohydrates, your body is going to go to that small freezer, which is the glycogen stored in your liver, and is going to start using that. And kind of like our freezer metaphor, you usually don't get kind of forced to go to your big freezer until you use up most of what's in your small freezer. And so what happens is it takes about 3 days for us to kind of burn through those short-term reserves of glycogen. And then your body will start looking for the big freezer. And the big freezer is our subcutaneous fat. That would be like in the hips and the thighs and so forth. But if you're not first using up that glycogen that's stored in your liver, your body will never, well, it won't as readily go searching for that subcutaneous fat. And so that's what your jumpstart days are doing, is burning up that glycogen so that you can move into the steady week after week of burning the long-term storages of fat.
Well, that's very interesting, and I like the analogy because I'm a very visual person, so I can think of that freezer in my kitchen versus the freezer for me. It's out in the garage, and so that's a really good analogy and an understanding for especially new folks of why do we do what we do and why do we call it Jumpstart Days. Well, to wrap it up, Eric, this portion. Can you tell me, a lot of people are being lambasted with Ozempic and Wegovy and this and that and the other thing and the hottest thing on the market. Can you tell me what your understanding is on that versus something like the HealthPointe Healthy Lifestyle Program?
Yes, there's a growing body of evidence out there with results of that. So a couple of things that I think are important. One is, let's not lose fact of the comparison on cost between the two approaches. And some might say, well, I can get a GLP-1 drug covered by insurance. That's true, but I've talked with people that once their BMI comes down, their body mass index comes down, they get cut off the insurance payments. So now they're on the hook for whatever, $1,000 a month if they want to continue it. Next thing is just looking forward to the rest of your life. Does somebody feel comfortable with taking injections for the rest of their life to maintain that? That'd be another thing. But then last thing I would comment on is that what they're looking at is that when someone uses a GLP-1 drug, whatever brand name it is, it's basically a deficit approach. You were eating 2,000 calories, your stomach turns to stone, as some doctors say, and you just don't want to eat. And so you knock it down to 1,000 calories instead of 2,000. Okay, everything sounds great. However, when you do a deficit like that, it's not just a reduction of all macronutrients, or I should say it is a reduction of all macronutrients, including protein. So what they're finding is that if somebody has, let's say, 50 pounds to lose, instead of finding that they've lost 50 pounds of fat, they've lost instead a disproportionate amount of muscle, not just fat. Now, it gets worse because then if they do reach a point where they stop taking that GLP-1 injection, and they haven't learned healthy habits, they haven't done any of the lifestyle changes, and they gain that weight back, instead of gaining the muscle back, what do they gain back? They gain back 50 pounds of not muscle and fat, they gain back 50 pounds of fat. So they lost 50 pounds, let's just say 25 pounds of fat and 25 pounds of lean muscle. Then they stop taking the drug, they gain 50 pounds back, and it's all fat. So now they have weaker skeletal muscle structures. Their knees, they're very susceptible to falls and injuries, and so they're in a worse way than maybe before they started. So that's what the evidence is showing.
That's very informative. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of these things that you really pick up on and can bring back to the HealthPointe program. It's very helpful to all of us. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. I know you had a very busy weekend, and so thanks for joining us, and we're going to move on to the next part of our program because all the things that Eric said are great, but you're asking yourself, well, yeah, these are all good facts and figures and what have you, but the bottom line is, but does it work for the normal guy, the normal Joe Blow out there that wants to lose some weight and wants to get healthier habits? So what we thought we'd do on these different sessions is just kind of highlights different people at varying degrees of weight loss or in the program. Some of them are maybe on lifetime maintenance. Some of them are in the journey of losing weight. So what we wanted to do tonight is move along, and we wanted to introduce you to a couple from Florida. Their names are Bruce and Eileen Bradley. And Bruce and Eileen have a great story. So Bruce and Eileen, if you want to open your camera up so we can see you.
I'm here.
There you are. Hi, guys. How are you?
Great.
Good. Nice to see you. And thanks for joining us tonight. I know you're in the midst of a move. And so we appreciate on your busy schedule you joining us. But, let me just ask you a few questions. First of all, I love your story, and I just think it will help so many people. So where were you at when you first got introduced to this program? How were you even introduced to it in the first place?
So we were planning a trip to Italy. It was a wonderful 2-week tour, Trafalgar tour with my sister. And I looked terrible. I couldn't find anything to wear. I was really depressed, honestly. And so I went to Bell's, and that's when I ran into Carol. But we were just talking in the store, like, can't find anything. And I must have been complaining about my weight. I don't know. And then Carol gave me her card and said, well, I'm a health coach. I could help you. And give me a call sometime or text me or something. So I went out after I checked out. I texted her and said I'd like to talk to her. So Carol came to my house, told me about the plan. And in my head, I said, not doing that plan. I'm not eating lettuce twice a day. And plus, I didn't eat fruit. And plus, I didn't think I could do that plan. It seemed too hard for me because I ate Culver's ice cream every day. Flavor of the day, right around the corner from me. And I didn't even know. So I said I'd get back to her sometime. We went to Italy. We went up to New York. We were gone 6 weeks. And when I came home, I told my husband, I'm calling that woman back and I'm doing that program. And my husband said, I'm not doing that with you. I said, I don't care. I'm doing it. You can eat whatever you want. I don't even care. I'm done. I'm done with this. And part of the problem was my knees were killing me. We all walked all over Italy. And if you want to show that picture, Beth, they'll show you what I look like in Italy. It was so upsetting. And Beth is going to put a picture up. Well, so that's me at a table we were in, like, I don't know, Tuscany somewhere at a beautiful gathering, and I looked like that, and I was so upset with myself. So let's get rid of that picture, please. Anyway, so I called Carol up. I planned it right away. We were going to see our son in Oregon, even though I'd started the plan, and I just said, I'm doing it. Everybody can have what they want. I don't care. So when we got there, I got a little cooler. I put all my fruits and veggies. We bought fruits and veggies for the kids because they love our food. But I said, I have to have food because the kids will just plow through all the fruit. So I'm like, I bought them fruit, and I'm like, this is Noni's fruit. I have to have some fruit and vegetables when you guys are having your treats. And so that worked out great. And I just kept telling myself, it doesn't matter if you want sugar. It's okay. People want a lot of things and they don't act on it. So I had a little reminder come up every day. Something like, just acknowledge sugar cravings as data. And so I said, yeah, oh, I have that sugar craving. I want sugar. It's okay. I don't have to act on it. People want a lot of things. So I did that. And now I don't have sugar cravings anymore. I don't have them. They're gone. And if I eat sugar, I get heartburn. So I didn't even know. So anyway, we got home from the trip. And after my first cycle, my husband said, call Carol and sign me up.
I didn't think I was going to be eating the lettuce either, but I know I was feeling bad after eating all the ice cream that the kids were eating and everything else. So yeah, I needed to make a change as well. So I'm glad.
And you know what? Lettuce is sweet. Honestly, I did not know, especially after 3 protein days, lettuce tastes pretty stinking good.
It's a nice break in the pace, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to show the other picture. I always hate the before and after picture, but Carol, you wanted to show people, so it's encouraging. So if you want to show that, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and show, Beth, go show the after picture, the one next to it. And we have some single ones that probably show it even better, but I think just seeing how sharp and crisp both of you look. And I'm sure that what you look like in a picture, you also feel like mentally. So you can see the difference, just in the overall presence of Bruce and Eileen. Can you give us guys the some of the statistics of what you lost and how you felt along the way?
I started out over 200, went down to just below 160. So about 50 pounds. I'm about 40 now. So really, like Eileen was mentioning at one time, even just losing the 20 pounds was a big relief, and started to feel better already. Got off half of my medicine that I was taking, omeprazole. So that was a big thing for me, and just feeling good.
Yeah, and I've lost about 76 pounds, 76 and a half at one point. And, but really, after a little bit of weight, 20, 30, you start feeling good, and you start feeling, okay, as a woman, you start to feel pretty again. You're like, you don't feel like I felt there in that picture, which breaks my heart to look at me sitting in Italy feeling so bad. But like I said, 20 pounds, then it goes to 30, 40. I was sending you pictures. Look at me in this, look at this. And I'm like, well, I was kind of heavy there, but I felt so good, so good along the journey. The journey is wonderful. I just say the journey is wonderful. You can take that picture down if you want. Thank you.
Another thing that you guys were both so good on. Eileen, you right from the get-go, and Bruce, you fell right along with her as soon as you decided to start the program. And that was that you were accountable every day. I don't think there was one time that I had to say, is there anybody out there?
Yeah, I think it makes a difference. Excuse me, Carol. I think it makes a difference when you have to report to someone, you're accountable, you're gonna say, well, I better do what I'm supposed to here. And the results we talked about, you just feel better too.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps you to keep that going, keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, and if you've done like Weight Watchers or any other thing, you're used to journaling. So I would just write my food while we're eating. We both just kind of write it while we're eating, and yeah, just send it. I like to send it first thing in the morning before I do anything else, get it over with, so you don't have to deal with it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've been very good at that. And I think that is, like Bruce said, I think that is really key, is just knowing that you gotta kind of cough it up, later on if you make a poor decision. And sometimes, let's face it, we're not all perfect. And
No.
sometimes we do make poor decisions, but you still have to be accountable for it. And when you did make poor decisions, you guys were also, you didn't try to smooth it over. You said, I just messed it up. I messed it up. And you were accountable to that too.
Yeah, and I tried doing maintenance, well, while we were on a cruise. We've done cruises where we stayed fine, maybe had a little this or that, but that was a mistake, like to do that. So I've had to recover from that, and now I'm back to pretty close to my goal now, and I'm going to be a lot more careful with maintenance. Someone said to me during this, they said, oh, well, once you get off that diet, you're just going to gain it all back. And I'm like, well, this is how I eat now. This is how I eat. This is healthy food.
Yeah.
So I have a mindset too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lifestyle, he said.
Yeah, lifestyle. That's exactly right. And that's why we do the lifetime maintenance too, because the body is very forgiving. And if it knows its place, it will stay there. But we have to train it to be, it's the old train the brain. And the brain, of course, activates everything. So, well, you guys have done a phenomenal job. And I just wanted you to share because I think there's a lot of folks on that journey. And some folks are on a long journey. Yours was a longer journey. And some people are even on a longer journey than that and successful at it. So it's just a matter of repetition, just getting right back on the cycles. And that's why we do these cycles. As soon as one is finished, the next one kicks in. And you can keep that cadence. So thank you so much for sharing with us and being great students. And now you're great coaches. In fact, do you have the statistics there of how much weight you guys have lost? And then now you're coaching.
Well, I have someone on maintenance. She lost 25 pounds. My mom, if you look through the pictures there, you'll see Phyllis Wallace. That's my beautiful mother. And she's lost around 50 and she's 84. And her doctor says, I don't even know how you're losing weight with all these drugs that they have her on. So she's just plugged away and she's doing that. I have another person who's lost 30, another person who's lost around 7, and then another person that only needed to lose about 12, and now she's doing maintenance and she's happy. So I think that's about it.
Yeah. So I think you said it was a total of between you and Bruce, and of course yours is many cycles, and your people, 240 pounds. That is, the earth is lighter by 240 pounds thanks to you.
Well, thanks to this program.
Thank you for joining us, and just keep going out there and talking to people because there's lots of lives that you can add much, much healthier lifestyle to. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think, Beth, if we don't have any questions, I think we probably can wrap our program up. Was there any questions that might have come in?
Not that I saw.
Okay, please do feel free, folks, that if you do have questions, just put them in the chat line and Beth will filter over if they're something that everybody can be blessed by. And if not, if it's a personal question, then we or your coach can get back with you and help you with that. So I think with that, we're going to sign off. And next week, we're going to have another guest speaker and another spotlight. And just make it a great week. Stay close to your coach, stay accountable, have fun with it, and just always be thinking, why am I doing this? What are the things that I want to accomplish during this, and how do I want to feel at the end of it? So have a great evening, and here's to your health. Bye-bye now.